In today's assignment, we are going to be making some fall leaves blowing in the wind using our cool colors and our warm colors separated into different areas of our picture. So you're going to need whatever materials that you have separated into cools, which are blues, oranges, and greens. So whatever kind of materials you have, crayons, colored pencil, marker, any combination of those together. And also our warm colors, which are reds, oranges, pinks, reds, yellows, oranges, pinks. Okay, so any combination of those materials that you have as well, and as many as you can, because the crayon orange is going to look different than your color stick orange or your colored pencil orange. So if as many different kinds of these colors as you have, your picture is going to look better. So we can combine our different materials in all of our projects this year to make us have the most types of color. We're also going to need a plain white paper and maybe a smaller paper that is a little bit thicker. It could be a magazine or any kind of paper that you have that might be a little bit stiffer or thicker is going to be best for this, because we are going to be cutting something out and tracing it. So on your thicker paper, whatever it is that you have, if you've got some thicker or maybe construction paper, mine is watercolor paper, which is just a thicker paper that we paint on. I'm going to draw a nice big leaf. And so to draw a leaf, there's many different kinds of leaves. I'm going to put a reference of some different kinds of leaves in your assignment. You can look at that picture there and decide what type of leaf you want to draw. And we're going to start by drawing the center vein of that leaf, that vein that goes straight through, and the stem at the end. So my paper here is about the same size as mine here, so I'm not going to make it too big. I want to be able to repeat that leaf multiple times on my white paper. And from the center line, I'm going to draw some other veins going out from here. And I can decide now if I want my leaf to, what the outside shape I want my leaf to be. If I want it to be an overall curved shape, I could do that, but that might be a little bit boring. So I'm going to go around mine, and I'm going to go and kind of curve around each of my veins here. I think this will give us a very interesting leaf shape. And a leaf shape is an organic shape. It is organic. So everyone is going to be a little bit different. So if your leaf doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay. I don't want it to. And so if you make a mistake there, you want to fix something, you want to make something more pointy or more curved, you go ahead and fix that. Right here at our stem, if you want to keep the shape of the stem, you're going to want to make that into a shape, or otherwise when we cut it out, it is going to fall off. So when you are cutting out your leaf, you're going to want to use your scissors with your thumb in the smaller hole if you have one, and the larger hole can have as many fingers as you are comfortable with. We always want to cut away from ourselves. If I cut toward myself with my thumb on the bottom, I might cut myself or stab myself. So your thumb should always be on top when you're cutting, and you're cutting away from yourself. So I'm going to hold my leaf paper in one hand, and I'm going to start on the edge of my paper here. And if I wanted to save some paper, I could have drawn my leaf over in the corner, and that might have actually even made it easier to cut out. But I'm just cutting straight through this paper until I get to my leaf. When I get to my leaf, I can kind of stop. I can open my scissors up real wide again, and I can put my paper all the way back into those scissors, and I can just cut until I get to my leaf again. And then if it's too hard to turn your scissors like this, that might be kind of hard. You can turn your paper and come back from this way and cut through the paper again, and just cut that little piece off. You don't need any more. You don't have to cut it all in one go. You can cut little pieces of it off. And I'm just going to continue to cut around the edge of my leaf here, and I can even just go around this whole thing to start out with. That would make it pretty easy, just closely, like that, to get all of this extra paper gone. I don't need that anymore, I can throw that away. And then now I still need to go back and cut out all of these little details that I drew. So now it's easier, I can kind of cut in this way, and I can go back in this way, and just make as many cuts as you need to, and curve and turn that to get that leaf shape out. So notice I'm going in, and then on this side of the curve I'm going in the same direction. So I don't have to curve my scissors as much as I don't want to have to curve them all the time. So I'm going to fast forward that and finish cutting this out for you. Right, now that we've got all these little pieces cut off, I can get rid of those. And now notice that if you look at the back of the leaf without all the drawing that you did, it still is an interesting shape. It is a nice, organic, interesting shape. So it doesn't matter if you mess up the drawing back here, you just need to cut out an interesting shape. So whatever you've cut is what we are going to see. So now I'm going to take this shape that I've cut out, and if you just have the same paper that you normally use, that's okay. If it's not thicker at all, if it's just normal paper, you can still do this. It's just going to be a little more difficult for you to trace it, so you have to be very careful when you are tracing it. So I'm just going to repeat this same leaf across my paper here, creating some rhythm, which is repeating things in our artwork, making repetition, and we're going to create some movement, making it look like our eye is following a trail of leaves through my paper. So I might want to use my finger to sort of plan out where I want my leaves to sort of blow through my picture. And so I'm going to turn this one the first way this way. I'm going to trace around it. And since this is my first one, it is going to be in the front. Nothing is going to be overlapping it. So once I've traced that, I can move it out of the way. I don't need to put the details in yet. Let's hold off on that. And so now I'm going to just turn my leaf, because I don't want them all to be the same way. I want them to be interesting. And if I lay it down like this, I can overlap my leaves by making the template that we've created, this cutout leaf, sit on top of the first leaf that I've done. And so I'm just going to, I don't want to trace this one. I want this part to look like it's behind the first leaf. So I'm going to start on the edge of the first leaf here, and wherever that one stops, I'm going to start again with my second leaf, and I'm going to trace around very carefully. Remember, if you just have thin paper that you've cut your leaf out of, you're just going to have to hold it very still and go very slowly to trace around that leaf. And so when I get to my old leaf again, my first leaf, I want to stop. And so notice that I don't see the stem of my leaf. It just looks like it is sticking out from behind there. And I can turn it again, and so maybe I've got the stem part sticking out this time. So maybe I'll turn it like that, and you can play with it a little bit. Maybe you want it here, maybe you want one over here. You can kind of think about it before you trace it. I'm going to do mine like this, maybe. We have one going off the top edge, maybe have it go, we'll have it touch the top. So I'm going to hold it down with one hand again, and I'll start up here, and as I'm tracing around, if I get to an old line that I've already drawn, I want to stop. So if I see it's laying on top of an old leaf, I don't want to draw that part. So over here there's no leaf, there's no old leaf, so I'm going to trace a new line on this side of the template. And when I lift it up, I can see that it now looks like it was behind the second one. So now I've got 3 overlapping leaves, and I've sort of got an arc happening. So I'm going to make my arc sort of come back down this way and make it curve. That's my movement. So maybe I'll go ahead and have one that's not overlapping. Maybe I'll flip it this way, make it even more different. And I'll have it coming off the side of the paper like this. Notice that I'm holding down each of these little points of my leaf to make sure that I can trace it nicely. And so now that I've got that part, so let's see, I might want to put a little bit of a leaf coming up in here, maybe, just to have a little bit more detail happening. We don't have to see the whole leaf, we want to fill up the entire space. And maybe one kind of sticking out on this side. Alright, now we can go ahead and add some lines inside to show the details of those veins again in all of your leaves. And whenever you get that part done, I would say that would be about as much work as you might get done on your first day of the assignment. So whenever you get these details in here, or however much you get done on the first day, go ahead and take a picture of it and submit that to the first assignment for this one, the one that says Progress Upload in the title. And you can come back to this video the next week and this artwork, and we will continue with finishing the artwork with our color. So once you have that done, that would probably be enough for the first day of the assignment. So we are going to start again with our fall leaves blowing in the wind. Remember, we created some rhythm with the repeating shape that we've created. That repetition creates rhythm in our artwork by making them follow a sort of path. We've also created some movement in our picture, which is allowing our eye to travel, making our leaf point in different directions, having that pathway for them to travel. Notice I didn't fill up the entire paper. I left some negative space in here. So you don't have to fill up the entire thing. Just compose a nice picture however you think your composition looks good. Remember, your picture should not look exactly like mine. Simply follow the steps and figure out the way that you can make it look unique to you. So now we are going to be using our warm colors first, warm colors only in our leaves, because these are fall leaves. So we're trying to draw our leaves like they look when the colors change on the tree. And I know that doesn't always happen in Florida, but usually there are at least a few trees that change, so you should know what I'm talking about. Alright, so we can use colored pencil and maybe marker to start out, whichever one you want to start out with. I'll do a couple with each. So to start with the lines, we could outline them with our warm colors, and I'll go over the stems of my leaves first. I'm just going to do one first here to show you, and then I will fast forward as I do the rest, and we will just, you can work and let it play or pause as you need to. So we can outline first. We can add some little stippling effects in here if we want to create some designs or some textures. Remember, we can use pattern to show texture, repeating designs to show the textures, and it's going to create some visual interest in our artwork too. So having some stippling, which is just little dots grouped together to show value in there. So that's one thing that we could do. We could outline around the outside a little bit as well if you want to. And you're going to want to make each leaf a little bit different, so plan on that. And I'm going to go ahead and outline around this edge here because I want that to look like it's kind of a shadow underneath that other leaf. So I'm going to make that a nice thick line so that it looks like it is dark underneath there. And so inside of the space that's left now, I can take some other warm colors, maybe yellow, maybe some orange, colored pencil or crayon or your color sticks, whatever you have. And we want to practice the blending that we learned in the last lesson. So in the last lesson we should have been blending some colors together. There was a video on that. We're going to repeat that same skill here. So in this white space I can blend by changing the pressure of my colored pencil or my crayon by coloring hard on this part. So I want to maybe color hard first and fill it dark. And then as I color up this way, I'm going to lighten my pressure so that the value changes to a lighter value. And I'm just going to make that go from here again. So I'm going to go dark to light on this side. And notice that I didn't go all the way up because I'm going to blend my orange with some yellow here in this leaf. And I can even blend a little darker next to my stems here as well. Again, you can use some different designs, different colors. It does not need to be the exact same ones, but you do need to be trying to blend, and you can do it in the same places that I am doing to create these same effects. Just use them uniquely in your artwork. So once you've got some blending happening, I'm going to take my yellow colored pencil and I'm going to do the same thing from this side. I'm going to color dark to light this way. I did dark to light with my orange here, and then now I'm going to just start on this end of the leaf and I'm going to color hard with my colored pencil, press down nice and hard, and I'm going to fill in that white space. And as I get closer to the center, I'm going to lighten my pressure so that it blends together. I'm just going to blend that in with my orange. I'm going to overlap those two colors so that they blend together. And since yellow is so light, I can really just kind of color on top here and it's going to blend together where I did that lighter orange pressure. And so now that leaf looks a lot more interesting than if I had just colored it in solid one color. I'm going to do a few different techniques and some different leaves here. Remember, we are only using warm colors in our leaves, and we can use any combination of cool colors in our background. So in this space back here, and we'll want to also use some designs back there, some simple ones, so that it's not boring to just color it all one color. And you'll see that as it's going. You can play at half speed if you don't want to see it fast forward, if you want to slow it down. But I'm going to just go ahead and fast forward through that so that you can see it completed. Alright, so notice in my background and inside my leaves I have been blending some colors together. I used my marker to add some simple designs, to add some texture and interest, like hatching lines, stippling, which is little dots, line designs to show the details of my leaves, and just generally blending from one color to the next. Please use the best craftsmanship you can. Color in as solid as possible. The color on this video is not great. I will post a picture at the end that has more bright color so that you can see it, how it is done in its full state. Remember that we need to make our picture look different than the example. It should not be done exactly the same. Use your imagination. I have shown only one way to do these things, but things that you must have in your picture is repeated shapes of leaves that are overlapping to create your movement in your composition, and the repeating of those leaves is creating some rhythm in your artwork as well. We need to only use warm colors inside the leaves, that is yellows, reds, and oranges, maybe pink, and in the background, that is the space around the leaves, you will use purples, greens, and blues. Use as many versions of those colors as you have to blend together and make those designs in the background. Good luck! Remember, this lesson should take you about 2 class periods. The first day you would probably complete cutting out your leaf template and tracing it onto your paper. You might get to start coloring it, maybe not. Whatever you get done on that first class, go ahead and take a picture and upload it to the assignment that says Progress Upload in the title. And then whenever you are finished coloring everything, you need to upload the finished picture to the assignment that says Finished Upload in the title.